Hey guys, happy Halloween. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and if your festivities for the day are already over, I hope it went well. We're going trick-or-treating tonight. Well, my kids are. I'll just be here handing out candy. My oldest is going as Pennywise, who I'm going to have a blast doing that makeup tonight. And my middle is going as Batman, and then my youngest is going as Elsa. And like I said, I'll just be here handing out candy. I hope you guys had fun if it's already over, or if not, enjoy it. We are kind of hoping that it doesn't rain us out. There's been rain all day. It's supposed to let up, so I'm hoping it does. So we'll see. If not, we're just going to sit in and watch horror movies all night. It's going to be the first time that my son is seeing The Exorcist, so we're all very excited. Today's video is nothing to do with dolls. I thought because it was Halloween that I would tell you guys a little bit about some of the paranormal experiences that I have had. And I know not everybody believes in that, and that is fine. You are more than entitled to your own opinion. I just know firsthand what I have had happen to me. So, a little back information about me is that I come from a very large Italian family. And we have beliefs in the afterlife and spirits and things of that accord. Growing up, I lived in this house in the greater northeast section of Philadelphia. The house was built sometime around, I want to say like maybe the 60s and 70s. We moved in 89 because I was 1 year old when we moved in. My birthday was in May, and we moved in July of 89 into that house. When I was about 5, I seen a ghost, and I remember it clear as day, and it kind of makes me a little uncomfortable to talk about because I do remember it so vividly. So the way the house was set up, like here is the side door to the house that kind of goes into the laundry room. So this is the laundry room, and like back here would be like the kitchen. So you had to go through the kitchen to get to the laundry room where the side door to the house was, and then past like the washer and dryer, so like somewhere over here are steps leading down to a basement. Well, I was coming from the kitchen where my grandmother was, so I was coming like here, trying to go downstairs where my mom was, so about here. And right when I got to the landing of where the steps are, or were, I don't know if they're still there today, but right when I got there, kind of where the washer was, I seen this little girl. And she was naked. She was probably about the same age as me, so like 4 or 5. Very, very pale. She had curly blonde hair and blue eyes. She actually kind of looked a little bit like my daughter, if, I'm remembering her correctly in my head. And she kept saying, "Please play with me." I was kind of scared because how she looked, not only was she very pale and just not of what I would expect a normal person to look like, but she had scars all over her face and like stitches, what I would think of as stitches from my memory. She wasn't very nice looking. She didn't do anything, or she wasn't mean to me in any way. She just wanted me to play with her. And I kept asking, what happened? What happened? Like, why do you look like that? And all she would tell me is that she drowned. Now, we did have a pool in that house, but my grandfather put it in. It wasn't there prior to us moving in. I don't know what happened. I haven't been able to find out any kind of research on that house to back up what she was telling me. All she said was that she drowned. But again, she had scars and scratches and stitches all on her face. The same area, my uncle, I don't know if this was before or after, but my uncle's girlfriend at the time was spending the night. And she said that when she got up to go to the bathroom, she didn't want to flush the toilet because she didn't want to wake anybody up. But as she got up to go leave the bathroom, in that hallway, she heard a little girl sneeze, and she thought it was me, and she turned around to say, "God bless you," but nobody was there. There's other things, like in the kitchen, we had big glass sliding doors that would go out to our backyard, and they were on like a track, and when you pushed it open, it was very loud. My grandmother and uncle said they were sitting in the kitchen one night watching TV late at night, and they heard what sounded like the door opening. And that late at night, who's going to come in from the backyard? So they jumped and panicked and moved away from the door, but the door was shut and nobody was there. There was many times where my grandmother, she was like a really, like a night owl like I am. So she would sit up late at night and just watch TV. She said that it would sound like somebody was like walking or like dragging something from upstairs in the hallway. There was just so many things with that house. Another time, I was probably about the same age, maybe a little bit older. I was playing with my aunt in it was like the forbidden room. It was the parlor. It was like where all the fancy furniture and everything was. But I was playing there on the floor with my aunt, and the corner of my eye, I seen a man walking down the steps. I seen a shadow of a man walking down the steps, and he had on sort of like, kind of like a hat. I don't know if that would be considered like a top hat, but it was a hat like what Abraham Lincoln would wear. And I seen that shadow walking down the steps. And I told my aunt, I said, oh, there's a man walking down our steps. And I think I kind of panicked and freaked her out a little bit. That's everything that I personally remember from that house. Now, going forward, the second apartment that me and my husband lived in, we didn't even have kids. So in that apartment complex, we lived in 2 different apartments. The first apartment in that complex was a 1-bedroom. Now, this complex was actually not far away from the house that I grew up in, maybe like 3 or 4 miles down the road. But it was the old mayor's building of Philadelphia. And it had like 400 units in it. Like, it was a huge building. So the first one we lived in was a 1-bedroom, and it had like a balcony that you could go and stand out there and smoke or do whatever you wanted out there. Like, we had it set up real cute with little table and chairs. There would be many times where I would be alone and I would just feel like I wasn't. Like somebody else was there with me. You know, that eerie feeling where all the hairs stand up on the back of your neck. I would also see shadows, like the way our bedroom was set up. So our bed was like here. And like here's the doorway going out into the hallway to like the living room area. I would see shadows of like what I presume to be an older woman walking. Nothing ever touched us or harmed us in any way, you know. It wasn't anything crazy like that. I would just see shadows. And the same thing too, after we had our son, we moved into a 2-bedroom in the same complex. And that too, you would just have a really eerie feeling that you weren't alone. So that was that, and it was like calm for a little bit. And then after we had my daughter, now you can't keep 3 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment, and they didn't have 3-bedroom apartments. So that's when we decided to move into here. There was quite a few strange things that have happened here. Like I said, sometimes, especially upstairs, you tend to feel like you're also not alone. I've seen shadow things and things out of the corner of my eyes. I was vacuuming. I don't know if I can angle. All right, so over here in this area is like my kitchen. And it cuts off, all open floor plan. And it cuts off, and this is where my living area is, where I am now. So I was vacuuming the living room, and I was vacuuming by the front door of our house. Now we have a carport. My husband keeps his Harley out there. So as I'm vacuuming, I just happened to glance up really quick and look out the door. Like the door has like glass stain on it, so you can see outside. And it's not like dark stain, so you can see clearly what's outside. And as I'm vacuuming and I look out the window, I see briefly a figure of a very tall, skinny man with dark hair sitting on my husband's bike. And I panic and I freak out and I go and I hurry up to open the door thinking like it's a person. And nobody was there. Now, by the time I put the vacuum up and ran to I didn't even shut it off. I just lifted it up and I ran out. And by that time, if there was anybody out there, they could not have gotten away fast enough for me to not see them. When my son was in 1st grade, he was upstairs late at night, like everybody was sleeping. He was upstairs asleep, and he said he heard noises of somebody moving around the room, and he thought it was his brother, my son Tommy. So he goes to sit up in bed to say, Tommy, what are you doing? And it was not Tommy. He said it was a little boy, also with blonde hair like my children, but he said he was in weird clothes, and Tommy was asleep in the bed on the other side of the room. And just recently, I came in from work. Now, I work night shift, so I will come in after 12 o'clock in the morning. And I came in the door, like right here, and I had the cats crying at me for food. The dog wants to be let out. So I did all that. And just as I'm about to settle down to put the TV on and kind of relax a little bit before going to bed, my daughter, who is in the room closest to the living room, like I have 2 bedrooms upstairs, I have 2 downstairs. We sleep in one, my daughter sleeps in the other. On the first level. So just as I'm about to turn on the TV to relax for a little bit, I hear this blood-curdling scream from my daughter's room. Now, she's 3, and it wasn't a scream like a cry, like that she woke up. It was a scream of like in terror. So I ran across the living room, threw the door open to see what could be wrong, and she's like in the corner of her crib, looking in the other corner of her crib, like freaking out. She'd get me out of bed, get me out of bed. So I go to grab her, and I'm like, what's wrong? What's the matter? And she was like, the guy. My blood ran cold. Every hair on my body stood up. And I was like, what guy? What are you talking about? She's like, the guy, he tickled me. And I'm like looking around, and I don't see anything. I look out the window thinking maybe she's seen a reflection, or God forbid somebody's like peeking in my window. Nothing there. Totally freaked me out. I was like, all right, that's it. You're going to sleep with me tonight. I got her out of that room, shut the door, and I think me and her stayed up till about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning that night. We couldn't go back to sleep. I also kind of freaked myself out the other day. I was up in the doll room, and like upstairs, we have a few issues with the roof where it's not as strong as it should be. And they are being fixed and handled. But upstairs, the walls are very thin. So if there's a strong wind or a breeze or something outside, you can hear it. Like, it will creak the house upstairs. And I usually keep like a black curtain over the window in my doll room because I don't want any fading, any light to come in to fade the dolls. And I was taking pictures up there for Instagram, so I took the one side of the curtain off to kind of make more light in there. And it was a windy day, and I'm hearing the house just creak. And out of nowhere, it just sounded like footsteps in that room with me, like kind of coming toward me. I panicked. Now, it could have been my imagination or the wind or a spirit, who knows, but I was not staying in there to take that chance to find out. So I didn't even put the blind back up. I took off out of the room, threw the lock on the door, and ran down the stairs. And that's just some of the experience. There's been like other things here and there in the house. Nothing crazy like those events, but just little things. I was kind of thinking of doing a EVP and just kind of listen to what goes on at night when we're all asleep. I'm not sure. I definitely don't want to investigate too much into it. I won't do a seance or like a Ouija board or anything like that. I have a strong belief that Ouija boards will invite something in that you necessarily don't want, and they're bad. So I won't investigate any further. All I can say that is whatever is in this house, I don't feel that it's harming us or hurting us in any way. Nothing like that. It scares us, of course, but not to the extreme and not to the point where we're ready to move out. I just don't want to investigate and find out anything crazy and then have to live here. So whatever's here, I'm just going to let it go. I'll live in peace with them. They can live in peace with us. And as long as they are not hurting me or my family, I am okay sharing a house. So that has been my experience with the paranormal. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You had any paranormal experiences, please let me know. You want to comment on anything I have talked about today, leave it down below. Yeah, anything. So like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Happy Halloween.